It's time for another big batch day. And today we're gonna do braciole. I think I'm saying it right, I don't know. If you've watched my arrabbiata video, you know that I like to pretend like I can say Italian words. So braciole, I love it. It's one of those things you can do ahead of time, and I'm gonna show you today how I did a bunch of them. I just went to, Publix is good here, we're in the South. There's other grocery stores that are willing to slice things really thinly for you. I've also noticed though, Costco is kind of gotten on this really thin slice thing, and I've noticed they've even done it with ribeyes. So you, as long as it's sliced and it's a piece of typically beef, you can really stuff it with anything. So braciole, the standard is kind of breadcrumbs, some herbs, seasonings, and cheese, delicious. But you can also, I've seen things, I think they'd call them more of like a roulade, like thinly shredded carrots, spinach, whatever you want to throw in there, and roll it up, and then just pan fry, and they're done. So that's one thing I used to buy when I lived up north at Wegmans. They always had things like that. There were like 5-minute dinner type things, just boom, done in a skillet, a little bit of meat, some veg, healthy, yummy, delicious. Wegmans, by the way, best grocery store in the world, I promise you. So today we'll do a big batch of braciole. It's one of those things you can just freeze. Most people will eat one, some people will eat two, depending on what you're using as your sides. So if you kind of need your meat and things to go a little bit further, then do some heavier sides. Do some pasta on the side, do some garlic bread. You could even do a green salad. Then it'll go a lot farther. Then for sure I would only eat one, and I'm a really big eater. Otherwise, if we're having like spaghetti squash, I'm gonna eat two for sure, because spaghetti squash doesn't really fill you up like pasta does, but still delicious. And I hope you've been doing my hack that I, in my mind, invented. I've never seen anybody else do it. My baked potato version of spaghetti squash in the microwave. But let's get started. It is big batch day, or for me, big batch Saturday, because that's the day that I have off and I can do this stuff. So I'm gonna make beef braciole, and I'm gonna get them all ready and just put them in the freezer. So on a busy weekday night, I can just cook them quick. So what I have here is I have some breadcrumbs, some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. It doesn't have to be freshly grated. You could get the pre-grated one that's in the refrigerator section if it's a good one. But again, you want the best possible ingredients. So we also have some fresh parsley. This was maybe 10-ish cloves that I crushed. And then I asked at the butcher for this to be super thin because I don't want to spend time pounding them out, but they're cut super thin and ready to just be stuffed. So with this, I'm gonna mix this up with some olive oil, a little salt and pepper, and then I'm gonna salt and pepper my thin filet steaks and then stuff them. All right, so there's the Parmesan, the breadcrumbs, garlic, olive oil, parsley, all mixed up together. And then I've been spreading out the little pieces of filet, and if it has kind of like a wonky little piece here, I just kind of tucked it in. And then all you have to do is roll it up. Typically you would fasten them with either a toothpick or with some kind of string, but I'm just going to freeze them. So if I can just leave that seam side down there and freeze it like that, they'll be fine. Okay, my little bracioles are wrapped up. I'm gonna throw them in the freezer, let them freeze individually, and then I can put all of them in probably 2 separate gallon bags. This is the mixture that was left over. To me, it's not food safe anymore because my spoon that touched the steak has touched this, so I'm not going to keep it in the refrigerator or use it, but I will put it in the freezer in the same bag as probably the gallon bags. And then as it's baking with the sauce, again, I'll have a future video of that I can definitely just sprinkle on the top, because this is really good cheese and really good breadcrumbs. I don't want to waste it, but like I said, it needs to be frozen in order for it to be food safe, and then I can throw it in something that's boiling hot that'll go in the oven. So here's my finished version of all the braciole. I was able to make, I think, 3 quart bags. I froze them all individually so that they're all completely separate in here. They can move around. So say maybe I was just cooking for myself one night, I might just take out 2 or 3 so I could have dinner and lunch the next day. That's why I wanted them all separate, and I wanted them all to freeze with the seam side down. So I know you're dying to watch me make these, but you're gonna have to wait till we have a cooking not cooking night. This was just the big batch day. This is just to prep us so that we can have those lovely evenings during the week. Thank you again for joining me at Go Beyond Betty, where you are always taking whisks in the kitchen. We'll see you next time. Bye. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Me, 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 me.